Welcome back to Info Squad, where information equals freedom. If you would like to be part of the team, click the link in the video description. The Mandela Effect is evidence that you may have experienced events from a different reality. A lot of people remember the exact same events with the exact same details. However, these memories are different from what's in the history books, newspapers, and so on. This leaves us to speculate that parallel realities exist, and until now, we've been sliding between them without even realizing it. Some people try to explain this through false memories or unnoticed changes. So let's take a look at some of the most popular examples of the Mandela Effect and find out, what do you remember? So we will start off with an example that lends the name to this phenomenon: Nelson Mandela's death. An overwhelming amount of people have a memory of Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s, long before his death on December 5th, 2013. The dates sometimes vary, but in most cases the memories of his earlier death occur in the 1980s. MandelaEffect.com is a website that catalogs these accounts, and here are some of the memories that we found to be the most convincing. Perry Ware says, "Both my wife and I remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison. Included in this memory are the funeral snippets on TV and a legal flap over book rights involving his widow." Scott writes, "Clear and distinct memory of the Nelson Mandela funeral on TV in the early 80s. Another user named Game Over states, "I too remember Mandela dying in prison right before he was to be released. I thought this won't be good. The South Africans will think he was killed or something. It was on CNN headline news around lunchtime. I was in high school, so it was in the 80s. And these go on, listing several accounts of Mandela dying in the 80s, which seems to be the one detail all of the accounts can agree on. In this timeline, Mandela's death is officially recorded as December 5th, 2013. I personally don't have any memory of the earlier Mandela death, but what do you remember?" Next up is one of the examples that I can definitely remember: the Bernstein or Bernstein Bears.
You'd like me to do while I have my toolbox out?
Brother's bicycle brake is sticking.
I already fixed that last week.
Well, that's funny.
This still remains one of the most popular Mandela effects. Some people remember the Bernstein Bears being spelled with an E instead of an A. As small of a detail as this is, I too vividly remember the Bernstein Bear books with an E. If the name was spelled with an A, I would have called them Berenstain Bears. But here are some of the memories recorded by MandelaEffect.com. T says, "I notice changes every day. For one, I saw the Bernstein Bears thing mentioned, and I always knew them as Bernstein with an E." Nat says, "Berenstain Bears? I could have sworn it was spelled Berenstein too with an E." Mary Garcia also chimes in, "It was always Berenstein with an E, and now it's Berenstain." And I too remember Berenstein with an E, not an A. But what about you? What spelling do you remember?
TV cabinet. I want to bring back that rich walnut luster.
You can stain the woodwork just as well with the TV off.
Another popular Mandela effect is the color Chartreuse. A large portion of people seem to remember the color as being reddish or a pink color, as opposed to the greenish yellow that it actually is. This one I remember as green. Chartreuse was the color of a favorite bait of mine I used while fishing, and it was always a yellowish green. Here are some of the accounts claiming the color to have been a reddish or a pinkish tone in a different timeline. Becca said, "I could have sworn that Chartreuse was like magenta. I remember watching Blue's Clues, as funny as this sounds, and the guy went, 'Red and purple make Chartreuse.'" DM says, "I was more than positive Chartreuse was a sort of purple color until a year or two ago." Then Morgan says, "Both my mom and I remember the color Chartreuse being a pinkish purple color, almost like neon purple, but definitely not a yellow-green color. Chartreuse is a French liquor made by the Carthusian monks. It gets its name from the Grande Chartreuse monastery, where the monks who live there brew this liquor. Some people have speculated that maybe in an alternate timeline, they made a wine or something similar that would have had a purple or pinkish color instead of chartreuse, and maybe that's how these alternate timeline memories are obtaining this detail. So what do you remember chartreuse to be? This next Mandela effect is based around how many states are in the USA, 50, 51, or 52. I personally remember 50, but it feels a little fuzzy that there could be something to this 51 or 52. Here are some of the comments that claim 51 or 52 states as a memory. Ben Conroy said, "For years, I firmly believed there to be 52 states in America. Quite a shock when I found out there was only 50. Miss Fiona chimes in and says, "I also remember being taught that there were 52 states, with Alaska being number 51. Another comment reads, "I can say that I live in the United States, and for some reason, I could swear that 52 states has a familiarity." One comment goes as far as to list 52 states, including Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico, which currently, in this timeline, are not states. Some people claim that it's 52 cards in a deck, or that talk of Puerto Rico becoming the 51st state might be adding to the confusion. Personally, I remember 50, but how many states do you remember? Many people remember islands, landmasses, and countries in alternate locations. Some of those memories are very similar. So far, the major location discrepancies seem to relate to Cuba, Denmark, Sweden, Korea, Japan, Mongolia, New Zealand, Portugal, and Poland. One of the convincing details about the landmasses is that all the alternate memories have strikingly similar details. For instance, most alternate memories have New Zealand west of Australia, which is oddly backed up by a clip from the 1993 film Dazed and Confused, where a teenage spins a globe that actually has a landmass west of Australia. Now compare that with this satellite image that shows no landmass west of Australia. Maybe this was just a troll globe maker. What do you think? Here are some other more popular Mandela effects. Did Curious George have a tail or no tail? The Ghost Hunters TV show to some people was originally called TAPS, T-A-P-S. A lot of alternate memories also claim to have seen a popular picture of King Henry VIII with a turkey leg in the history books, even though no such image has ever been found in this timeline. Was the popular brand of peanut butter called Jif, J-I-F, or Jiffy, J-I-F-F-Y? At MandelaEffect.com, there is a long list of possible alternate memories that could be Mandela effects. If you are interested in keeping up with this topic, you should head over there and look around. Also, Reddit has a very active Mandela Effect community where you can find people talking about this topic. Are all of these alternate memories just false? Or could we be shifting between two realities without even knowing? Hey guys, thanks for watching. Leave us a comment down below. Don't forget to click the link in the video description if you want to join the team. And hey, like, share, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.